All right, we're gonna call the meeting to order, the February 16th meeting. While the PowerPoint's coming up, do you need it to read though?
Nope, I can read it.
You know it by heart?
Computer.
If you can do that, I'll buy you lunch.
Recites it every night before bed.
It's like keep score.
All right, go ahead. Derek,
Okay,
come on.
Well, first of all, happy 216 Day.
Oh,
It's
yes.
Cleveland's Day today.
Yeah.
Also, happy Lunar New Year. I'll look at the preamble while the screen is warming up. In compliance with notification requirements of Ohio's open meeting law and section 101.021 of the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio, 1976, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the City Planning Department conducts its meetings according to Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by voice vote. Recusals from any vote due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the taking of any vote. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting has the opportunity to be heard, we ask that you use the raise hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. The raise hand feature can be found in the participants panel on the desktop and mobile version and activated by clicking the hand icon. Please wait for the chair or facilitator to recognize you. Be sure to unmute and announce yourself before you speak. When finished speaking, please lower your hand by clicking on the raise hand icon again and mute your microphone. We will also be utilizing the chat feature to communicate with participants. The chat feature can be activated by clicking the chat button located on the bottom of the WebEx screen. Call-in users can unmute by using *6. All meeting activity is being recorded via the WebEx platform. These proceedings are also being live streamed via YouTube. All requests to speak on a particular matter submitted through proper channels have been considered. We have also received emails from those who've written, who have provided written comments on a particular matter. Proper channels for comments are listed below. Communication with members of this body must follow proper channels for consideration. Any comments received by the Wednesday 12 p.m. deadline are collected by city planning staff and disseminated to the commission members prior to any scheduled meeting. You'll see the proper channels for public comment listed below, sending an email to cityplanning@clevelandohio.gov, calling and or leaving a message at our phone number, sending a letter, or dropping off comments at City Hall 601 Lakeside Avenue. To share more about meeting rules and procedures for anyone who is new to the meeting, the chair will call each agenda item and then each applicant will be invited to proceed through their presentation. Each presentation should be completed prior to questions and comments from the commission in order to facilitate a smooth presentation. Once the presentation has concluded, the chair will ask the planning staff to summarize design review committee recommendations and any public comments received. The deadline for public comments is noon on Wednesday, and we've talked a little bit about how to submit those comments. Staff will also identify any members of the public present and scheduled to speak. Public comment is allowed at the discretion of the chair, and any individual providing public comment is permitted 2 minutes to speak to the agenda item in which they have an interest. The chair will then request a recommendation from staff through the staff report, if applicable. The commission will then begin deliberations and project review. Any commission member except the chair may make a motion at any point after an agenda item has been called. Thank you.
Welcome, good morning. Michael, can you call the roll?
Anthony.
Present.
Fluker.
Present.
Curry.
Present.
McCray Scott. McKnight.
Present.
Sargent.
Present.
Oh,
Slight.
done.
Madam Chair, we do have a quorum.
Okay. So we do have Andrew online. Thank you, Andrew. So welcome to the February 16th meeting of the Cleveland Planning Commission. The first order of business is to approve the minutes from the February 2nd meeting. I would just like to note that I did raise the discussion of how to handle items of which that we are not taking action, and that Michael's going to explore a way to reflect those going forward. Anybody else?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the minutes as presented with your note concerning how we deal with unactionable or items.
Motion and second, call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Booker,
Yes,
Curry.
Yes.
McKnight,
Abstain.
Sargent,
Yes.
Motion carries. All right, first item is a lot split or consolidation. This is a lot of permanent parcel numbers, so I will read them. 121-19014, 015, 016, and 017. This is at 2309, 2311, 2319, and 2325 East 101st Street. Is Hannah here to present these? Yeah. From
I'm
Canal?
here, thank you.
Go ahead.
Hannah Cohan with BR Knez Construction. We're here looking for a lot split and consolidation of these 4 single residentially zoned lots on East 100th Street, just south of Cedar. The existing lots are about 27 feet wide each by 125 feet deep, and with the 27-foot width, it's a little bit too narrow for us to fit a single-family home with appropriate side yard setbacks and a driveway to a rear loaded garage. So we are proposing combining the 4 lots and splitting them into 3 equally sized lots, which will make them about 36 feet wide instead of 27. At 36, we can fit a typical house with appropriate side yard setbacks and a driveway. We are here for you because the resulting lots will be less than the 4,800 square feet that engineering requires. There will be about 4,500 square feet, and they'll be a little bit less than the 40-foot frontage. They'll be at 36 feet. The neighboring lots on the street are all typically 27 to 33 feet wide. So we feel like the 36-foot wide lots will still be in context with the surrounding homes that are pre-existing.
Any questions or comments?
Madam Chair, I'm gonna have to abstain because I'm
Oh.
involved with Fairfax and
Okay.
those developers in this neighborhood.
Any questions or comments? Makes sense to me.
Yeah, it makes sense to the context of the neighborhood.
Yes.
Right, and they're already smaller lots, so.
And we have nice site plan, so nice site plan too.
Right, I move to approve this lot consolidation and resplit as presented.
Second?
Motion and a second, call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Booker,
Abstain.
Curry,
Yes.
McKnight,
Yes.
Sargent,
Yes.
Motion carries. The next item, number 2, is permanent parcel number 10620-36-35 and -34. This is at 165-8112, sorry, 1655, 8112, 8116 Linwood Avenue. And Anna from the city of Cleveland is presenting this. City doing this consolidation?
So Anna is not available. She's from the land bank, and the land bank does support this, but we do have the property representative.
Okay, go ahead.
You wanna come
Good
up?
morning. I am
Come
the
up closer
owner.
to the mic. Yep. You can sit or stand, whatever you're comfortable.
And you can also, you're on TV now too.
Movie star, right?
Yes, yes. Welcome. There you go, there you go. Yes.
That's fine.
Good morning. I'm the owner of the property at 106-20036. Requesting the land split of, I think it's 106-20035.
Mhm.
Wanted the whole property, but had to split it with my friend here, the neighbor. What I plan on doing, I already have an existing fence up. I plan on just moving the fence to the parcel that I'm going to get the 106-20035. Just to landscape, my part of the property, putting some, just landscaping, some trees and maybe a pergola there. But just wanted to also prevent any traffic that was street traffic that was going back and forth. So just wanted to secure my property. That's the reason for the request.
Chairman, I ask that you mention his name for the record.
My name is Anthony Joseph Forbes.
So just to clarify, you're acquiring this parcel from the land bank it will be a side yard, right? You're
Correct,
gonna
yes.
adding additional open space.
Yes,
So you're gonna expand your fence.
Yes,
And then include it as part of your yard.
absolutely.
Okay.
Actually, I have a estimate coming out today for move the fence to the parcel or just get a new
Build
fence.
a new
there.
fence. And are you splitting this parcel with your neighbor in half?
Yes, Andrew.
So you'll have half for side yard or half for developable parcel?
I would have half. 035. Park, something landscape.
Andrew Mathis.
So is that reflected in the site plan that we're seeing, the next one, the one before, the lot split, go to the consolidation or the plat?
Yeah, I think it was, here we go.
So, you're there. So, which is the lot being split? So
035.
that's half
034.
and half goes to BB. I see it. Okay, so half goes there, half goes there. And your intention is to build something on the
I would be actually putting up a fence as well to match Mr. Forbes. I would be adding more landscape attire.
to your lot, to your
to my
house.
lot, which
Okay.
is already
Oh,
reflected
okay.
in 034, which is
Got it.
already there existing. I would just add on to it already.
Okay. I understand now. Thank you. I just wanted to understand. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I move to approve said lot split of parcels 036, 035, and 034.
Second.
I just have a question, a clarification. Why are there so many lots if it's one lot? Like, I don't understand. Like what, there's one lot, so it should be one parcel number being split and consolidated with two.
No, there's one lot being split. There's these two lots flank that.
Right, and there are four, oh, I got it.
You see what I
Okay,
mean?
got it. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sandwich
I'm
between.
Inspired. It's a long day for me. Thank you, got it. All right, we have a motion and a second. Thank you. Call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Booker,
Yes.
Curry.
Yes.
McKnight,
Yes.
Sargent.
Yes.
Thank you, exciting. Enjoy your more space.
Hey, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We have a conditional use, which is actually a public hearing. This will be a little bit different format for the conditional use, which is a townhouse in a two-family district, 004-05-49 and 004-07-02. This is at 1830 and 1831 Rabier Avenue. Xavier will present this. The way we run zoning matters, public hearing, is first staff will report, then we'll hear from the sponsor, or it could be the councilman or the who is really putting forward this zoning change. And then we will open it up to the public. We will hear from those in favor of the zoning change first, and then those opposed. Please state your name clearly. I will call everyone in order, and you will have 2 minutes to speak. So Xavier, go ahead.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Xavier Bay, Senior Assistant City Planner in the zoning section of City Planning. So today we're seeing a conditional use of a townhouse in a two-family district. I'll give you a bit of a lag on this screen, so keep that in mind. So the address is, so you might see two addresses, 1830 and 1831 Revere. The address at 1831 is in a two-family, and then the address 1830 is actually in a multifamily district. So we're mainly going to be focused on the townhouse going into two-family. And so, just as I mentioned, here's the parcel, two-family residential zoning district fronting Revere Avenue. And then you can also see some of the adjacent zoning. Actually, right to the west is a previous plan that was approved. It's right adjacent to the Lincoln Heights development. So there's also two-family homes, two and single-family homes along the street. You can see that abutting this parcel is you're in a two-family zoning district, you're abutting multifamily and local retail. And so I highlighted the parcel that's actually in the two-family district there on the left of the side of Revere, on the site plan there. And then it's also a picture I took yesterday, just of the site where the townhouse is going in. And so really, why is this coming to City Planning Commission? You're determining if the development is visually compatible with nearby properties and scale, height, setbacks, orientation, and existing streets, roof lines, architectural character, materials, colors, portions of architectural features. So I attached a few contextual photos there. You can see the photo on the top is what's actually adjacent to the proposed townhome. So right next door, you have a vacant lot, and then you see a row of single and two-family houses. And the pictures on the bottom are what's going on across the street. You can see some more of the single and two-family homes context. And so, right, the conditions of the use criteria are, are these visually compatible with nearby properties, like I mentioned, scale, height, setbacks, and
This is true.
Also, does the site layout create visual interest to promote safety between vehicles and pedestrians within these interstates? So here you see some of the elevations. This is primarily for the townhouse zone and the two-family. So you see elevations there provided and site plan. I believe the applicant is here. They actually have a presentation following this, so they can provide more details.
Madam Chair, to Xavier, I'm having problems trying to put this word in the context. Is there an aerial? I guess I'm trying to understand where the head-end parking comes from and where the streets are and where the other.
Yeah, I don't have an aerial, but here in the site plan, you could really kind of see. So the yellow highlighted box there is where the site is, and then they have a driveway coming in on the topmost part, which is actually the westmost part of that parcel. Is that the question you're asking?
So to the north, there's an apartment building.
So yeah, so to the north, right here, this is a proposed second building that the architect is also proposing, which isn't developed yet.
An aerial would help me greatly without all the shading, and that's just for me, but I'm not gonna hold this up for that. I'm just trying to understand how you get to this, how it's situated. Looks like there's parking that wraps around
Yeah,
the
that's all.
site.
Sorry, that's all the incoming proposed development that was previously approved with Lincoln Heights Apartments and.
So it's not there.
Correct.
Okay, that's why I'm having a problem.
It's under construction.
Pardon?
It's under construction.
I was trying to make something be there, but I couldn't see it. Okay, I'm good. Apologize for that.
That includes my.
Okay. And this is in Tremont, right?
Correct,
Yeah, and Councilman McCormick?
I believe so.
Okay. So is the applicant here? Would you like to say anything? Just state your name.
My name is Casey Marks
Where's that building?
with Marks Building Company. We built a couple other single-family homes in the city and done some extensive renovation projects. My architect, Steve Cicerotto, is also here. We'll be doing the next presentation if you guys have some more questions on details of how it's going to be. But we have been working with the representatives from GEIS and the owners just to kind of facilitate the parking a little bit more. That was one of our big focuses. If you haven't been by the site, they have done an extensive amount of site work so far for their pretty much all their underground work and our excavator and everything, but we'll probably use the same exact person just to try and project this.
So to commission members, would you like to see the presentation? It's in the next one on the
Yeah,
agenda.
I think that
before
would
we-
be,
So, so to those who are here, if anyone's here to speak to this, what we're gonna do is go ahead and hear the Near West Design Review presentation. We'll take separate motions, and I still will open it up for public comment. So we will still vote on them separately. But the item is in design review Near West. It's 2023-036, Bradbeer Townhomes New Construction, and it's seeking conceptual approval. So maybe we can go ahead quickly through that, and then we'll come back to the public comment.
Good morning. My name is Steve Ciceretto. I'm the architect for the project. You see two addresses because in theory, we were trying to create sort of a transitional zone between the two-family housing to the east along Brevier and the higher density apartments on the west. So we thought keeping a scale from the street that relates to those existing houses would be an appropriate way to make a transition. So in this scheme, you can see the highlighted area is actually the two parcels, the top one being multifamily zone, and the southern parcel is actually in the two-family zone. To the immediate west, to the northwest, the big building you see there is actually the Humane Society. What you don't really see from this is there's a very steep ravine from the off to the west of the northern parcel that drops way down to the Humane Society. But to the immediate west is the project that you're questioning, is apartment building that kind of makes it L-shaped around our parcel, and then townhouse. So I think if we go.
There's your contact.
Next slide.
I can't read it because I see an aerial here. That's okay.
Yeah. So this is just a simple survey of the property that we're currently talking about. And we're actually here for this change of conditional use for to create townhomes on this property. So if we go to the next property. Next slide. Yeah. So it's pretty complicated because it's so many overlays here. I understand your confusion. What actually happens to the west, which is on the top of the page, is the apartment building is kind of an L shape. It goes over those parking spaces to the south. So this building is actually a 4-story building, I believe, that's over some platform parking, say you see those parking spaces. So we're kind of surrounded by this higher apartment building, and it seemed appropriate to me to create some transition between the two-family homes and this higher density apartment building. So, but what we wanted to do is really create sort of an entrance to the there's the bike path that's going through and all that action that's happening, trying to create little pocket parks on the street that would be sort of a transition to this higher density zone. So we're proposing 5 townhomes, each with a 2-car garage. So always important to factor in Tremont, we understand, is the parking. And we think that's a big plus for these units to have two cars each. We're working, as Casey stated earlier, see those ones that are kind of squared off between, by working with the developer of the property, the apartment building, we allowed them to turn by coming closer to our property. It allows them to 90-degree park their cars instead of this directional that they had proposed. And when you do that, it picks up a couple extra spaces that can be used for our guest parking and also a kind of mixed use. They can use them also if they need overflow parking. But the key is that from the north, the building's very much in scale with the townhomes to the two-family homes that are along the street. So the same kind of width that we're looking at, same kind of lot that is typical on that street. And we bring all the traffic up along the west side of the building. So it has more of a residential feel to the people to the east, to the home. There's a vacant property, well, not a vacant property, but an open land that the residents to the south, to the east actually owns. So it's one large parcel. And so there's a little bit of a green space. We meet all the zoning requirements in terms of setbacks, I believe, for front and side and rear setbacks. So we're not looking for any additional zoning setback variances. To the north, and ultimately across the street, which just to give you the context of the picture, why you're seeing some different elevations. It would be probably a 10-unit, eight to 12, probably 10-unit apartment building with parking underneath, and we're pursuing avenues for that would allow, since there's extra parking underneath there, that would also work for guests to leave townhomes if they have overflow parking, along with the street parking that's available. If we go to the next slide there. So these are just kind of the properties. The one on your left is the actual parcel for the townhomes. You can see to the west that gravel stuff that's going on, and they're starting to work on the apartment buildings right now. That'll be the parking area. And then across the street, you can see that'll be those bushy, scrubby trees are not actually on our property. They're kind of on the Humane Society property, just at the top of that ravine. It's hard to really see that drop off in that photo, but that would be the building where the apartments would go, and that is actually zoned multifamily. Next slide. Here's a street shot. So looking from where Brevier meets that, where we are, the houses on the north side are on the left there. It's a very handsome street, and to the right, there's another photo that shows the right side of the south side. That one that kind of shows that open lot next to us, and then the development of the homes going east. So just to give you a little context, and our goal was to make townhomes that are matching those in height and standard. Of course, they go to flat roofs and more contemporary structures. So they leave that vernacular of the townhomes, of the two-family homes. And this is kind of our site plan. Drive to the west, they all come in. What's probably they're basically three-bedroom units with a roof deck. It seems to be very well received in the city. Everybody has a private place to be outside in, and yet we still have little green space between our property and probably a fenced area separating our property from the neighbor to the east. You can the point of this slide and the dumpster. You can see the trash location is this kind of a screen dumpster against the parking to the south. It's kind of, forgive me for having these things oriented sort of sideways. Our normal way of thinking is probably north to south, and so it's confusing a little, right? So, but to fit this properly on the page, we just did it this way. So you can see the concept at the street there, where we would take fronts of both of these buildings and try and create some sort of landscape form and what I just call pocket parks that are little places for benches or maybe a bike rack or bike rentals or whatever could happen up there, in the future. But the idea is to create a little bit of a transition between this zone and the two-family houses to the east, to that higher density zoning to the west. We go to the next slide. Concept, we would be using sort of the contemporary materials, some metal and fiber cement siding, some maintenance-free products. We have, kind of hard to read on that, but basically you can get the sense that there's a third floor rooftop deck with a bonus room if you want a little entertainment room up there. That'll be part of the design. So that height is basically matching up with the heights of those two-family units, so that we're all feeling the same relationship in height. Okay. And that's kind of if you were standing from the apartments, you could see how the long-term intent is to have these townhouses to offer two different products, basically, townhomes and the flat apartments, the flats. They would probably, the concept is to share that the townhomes, they'd be rentals, proposed as rental units. They would be, the townhomes would then get to share also the big rooftop patio on the apartment. So you can see there's some shade structure and some rooftop amenities. That project is really early in concept development, but the point is that somehow the materials and the scale would be a little bit bigger on that side, but the materials would match. So it feels like one development. I think that's basically the concept. So what we're seeking is that conditional use that allows to develop townhomes on the two-family parcel.
On the conceptual approval and the design. So,
Yeah.
thank you. Appreciate it. So first we're going to open this up to public comment. Anyone online, just raise your hand, or if you're here to speak to this. First, we'll take people in favor of the zoning matter. So this is the conditional use. Or anybody who has any questions too, or we will take that as well. I don't see anyone online. So we'll take anybody opposed to the zoning change or to the conditional use. I don't see anyone. So we'll close the public portion and open it up to commission members. First, some discussion and comment, and then I'll need separate motions.
Madam Chair, is it okay if the staff provide any comments to
Sure.
design
Yeah.
view or zoning
Yep.
perspective?
Hello, Commission. Happy Friday.
Hello, welcome.
So this project came to local design review 2 weeks ago, and it was pretty well received. There's been some adjustments that have happened. The townhomes were actually doubled. They have been reduced to 5, so that's I think a benefit for the community to have just more residential feel, less people. This is also on a not true street. I actually took a visit down there and took a site visit myself. And as you can see, there's a parking lot to the west, I believe it is. And just looking at the lot and looking that way, it just looks like a basin. So in a way, this I feel gives an artificial barrier to noise pollution that may come from the apartment, light pollution that may come from cars. And with there was also a mention of consideration of that front unit as it faces the street. But overall, this was well received. It was positive. There were some considerations on where that parking is leading, but overall, this was a positive note here. A notice of the conditional use was placed 10 days prior. I also took a visit to Tremont West to let them know. So everything on the residential side, we took some extra steps to let them know, hey, townhomes are happening. We just don't want a repeat of other things, but this is, the public knows.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move to approve the conditional use for addresses 1830 and 1831. I believe that the scale and context in which this is located is appropriate and would then deem us to vote positively on a conditional use.
Second.
Motion and a second. Michael, do you have what you need?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Okay, I'll call the roll.
And
Yes.
Butcher,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes.
McKnight,
Yes.
Sargent.
Yes.
Motion carried. For the design review?
Excuse me, Madam Chair. See Shannon Leonard, raise your hand.
She's not allowed. I'm just kidding. Shannon?
I just wanted to clarify, that was the 1831 is where the conditional use was being proposed. The northern property is 1830. That's for a multifamily apartment building.
Okay. So those are incorrect on the agenda, by the way. So how do you want to handle this since we had a motion and a second?
Chair, so it is, I just scratched out the address.
Okay.
I did not receive that presentation.
Okay. So, but I'm just going to note for the record that the conditional use does not apply to 1830. Is that
That's
okay?
correct. It's multifamily.
Okay.
so-
Okay.
Alrighty. Thank you, Madam Chair.
But thank you, Shannon, because very important since that could be a problem down the line. All right, to the, so is that also true of the next one? We're not approving the does conceptual approval of 1830 as well?
So that one is, so there's only one conditional use because only one of the parcels
Right.
is zoned family, but they want to consider this a whole project for the.
So it's conceptual approval of both buildings, correct?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the conceptual design for project number 036.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Luker,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
McKnight,
Yes.
Sergeant.
Motion carries. Oh, yes, Sergeant, motion carries. Thank you. We'll see you back for
Thank you
the final design. Next item is Far West Design Review. This is 2023-019 Puritas Senior Apartment seeking conceptual approval. This is at 14410 Puritas Avenue. Greg, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth as you shall answer to the penalty of perjury?
I do.
Okay.
Gotta wait for the TV first.
No, you're good.
You can entertain
You
us.
can, yes. Go for it.
It'll be pretty blow.
And if staff could address, I see it's approved as it presented with one no vote. So I don't know if staff would also later give us why there was a no vote. Yeah, later, is it? Okay, go ahead.
He's online.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thanks to the commission for allowing me to be here, the city of Cleveland as well. I'm Greg Barron, I'm Managing Director of Development for Volker. We're here to present the Puritas Senior Apartments project, which is a new construction 48 unit affordable housing project on Puritas Avenue in Cleveland. We did last week on February 7th receive conceptual approval from the Far West Design Review Committee. The partnership itself, so Volker is partnering with Barton Communities. You guys may be more aware of them as LSC Service Corp out of Lakewood. They own the Westerly Apartments. They manage a number of developments throughout Cleveland, including the Franciscan Village Apartments, Rocky River Drive. And then we've also hired RDL Architects as our architects for the project. Here's the project aerial. So it's on the north side of Puritas Avenue, in between West 143rd and West 145th Street. The parcel is just under an acre. It's about 0.7 acres. Couple of stats on the project itself. As I said, 48 units. It's a combination of 28 one beds and 22 bedroom units. The project will serve seniors 55 and older. The 2023 income limits are a little bit outdated. We're still waiting for HUD to issue the updated 2024 limits, but as you can see, it's truly a mixed income project. The 80% units will have people, closer to 60,000 for a two-person household. Residents will be connected through Barton Communities, a wide array of supportive and community-based services. And then the building itself will have a fitness center, we'll have a community room, laundry facilities, wheelchair and scooter storage, and then enhanced site building security, including fencing and gates and that sort of thing. Here's just a little snippet about the senior amenities. We engaged exercise equipment provider who really catered our plan for this fitness center to the seniors in the building. I mentioned Barton Communities, formerly LSC Service Corps and Lakewood Senior Citizens Inc. Here's a list of properties that they manage and provide supportive services to. They were also recently designated a CORE certified supportive service provider. So it's a national certification that supportive service providers receive after going through a strenuous application process. In terms of the overall development team, as I mentioned, Volker Development, partnering with
Barton Communities, who will be a 25% owner on the project. They'll also serve as property manager, supportive service coordinator. The architect is an RDL. For general contracting, we've engaged Maurice Brothers Construction. They've done the majority of our projects in Ohio. We'll likely end up hiring them for this one as well. The civil engineer is Bramhall out of Avon. Here's the site plan, or the current site plan that was approved last week. I will say too, Chairwoman, to your comment about the one no vote that occurred. You know, there was a big push early on to be able to move the project towards Puritas Avenue as much as possible to kind of create that street edge. I think there's also comments about the scaling of the building itself in regards to Puritas Avenue.
Got it.
So because of the flag shaped parcel, you know, the way we're showing the building is towards the back with parking up front.
Okay, thank you.
This is a couple of alternative scenarios that we looked at in reference to the comments from design review. As you can see, obviously it doesn't work. The one on the left, you know, one concern we had is the building's essentially in those single family residential backyards. And there's Juliet balconies, windows. So that really wouldn't make sense for us. If we push the building back, it kind of, you know, there's more room to the north and east and west. So it's not on top of those houses. The one on the right obviously doesn't make sense for obvious reasons. Here's a couple of shots of the current conditions on the bottom. The project does have, it's called Cloudwater Zendo, which is a Buddhist temple. They are month to month, not there very often. The property manager who we're purchasing the property has already talked about this with them and given them notice. We do have City of Cleveland home financing, so we're obviously following all the URA requirements and this sort of thing. One of the other items that design review came up with was the landscaping on Puritas Avenue. So again, because this is conceptual, we're in the process of engaging a landscape architect now. So you know, the goal is to improve as much as possible with potential monument signage, landscaping on the front side. Another big comment, as I mentioned, the original entrance on the left, you could view the dumpster enclosure from Puritas Avenue, which was a big one. So what we essentially did is turn the dumpster enclosure and it essentially became part of the building itself. So you'll see from the street view how that looks now. There's also a more inviting entrance. There's a canopy on the right and some additional landscape and seating area. Here's the first floor plan, a pretty standard I-shaped building. We have the fitness room that I had mentioned. We have a community room. We'll have common laundry facilities on the upper floors. If you look in the bottom left-hand corner, that's the dumpster enclosure that's been turned, that little flag that comes off. Here's the second floor plan. Here's a shot of the south elevation. So if you look on the left, where there are the short trees, that's the dumpster enclosure there. So it's essentially from street view on Puritas Avenue. Here's the south elevation. This is a little bit more zoomed in from the south side. North elevation, combination of masonry, fiber cement siding already. We really haven't gotten that far again because this is just conceptual. Obviously, for schematic, we'll kind of nail down landscaping and exterior materials. I do also want to add, I probably should have said this first. We went through a competitive application process for low-income housing tax credits in 2023. So we were one of a handful of projects in the city that received those. You know, OFA kind of, every 2 years they change their qualified allocation plan, and it really encourages developers to go to specific geographic areas throughout the city. And this specific census tract on the west side was one of those census tracts. So we really scrubbed all the properties. We reached out to a number of people. You know, and I guess big picture, Oakville wants to see a development here. We received the tax credits. We successfully received $1 million from Cuyahoga County in their ERA2 funding round. And then we've also received close to $900,000 from the city of Cleveland for home financing. So our financing is in place. You know, we're looking forward to kind of moving this through and assuming conceptual approval today, move on to the schematic and orders permit. I believe Megan Harding from RDL Architects should be here.
Thank you. Does staff want to say anything before we discuss?
Nathan Lowell has quite a few comments from design review.
Okay.
He is online.
Good morning, everybody. This is Nate Lowell, Far West City Planner. So just to provide some additional context on this project, when it came to design review last week, this was the third conceptual review it had. It was originally under a different site plan where it was fronting Peerless Avenue. That was assuming that they had control of the parcel to the east where there's a daycare currently. So I can't speak to why that's no longer part of the project, but that's why there was a conceptual review, and then we saw it for a second conceptual review under the more current site plan. So that was seen and tabled. At the time, the committee didn't feel like that was a good site plan with a parking lot facing Peerless and the building pushed so far back in the rear of the property. However, at their third review, they did get approval because the committee felt that the type of housing is severely needed in the neighborhood. So affordable senior housing in the neighborhood with financing in place is obviously important to have that type of housing. There are still concerns from the committee about how the parking lot fronts and interacts with Peerless Avenue. And obviously in a perfect world, we would prefer to see this building right up to the street, but understand the site constraints here. So to kind of minimize the conflict per se, the committee felt that extensive landscaping, possibly a small plaza or a masonry wall to shield kind of the parking lot and improve the pedestrian experience would be made. There was some concern over having the 4-story structure in the rear yards of the single family houses to the west. However, I believe the applicant has been speaking with the neighbors over there just to let them know the project's plans. And then the only other comment was the utility poles on the site should be looked at to be consolidated and put underground or buried. And also considering having a pickup and drop off area if there's any sort of like senior transportation service that's provided for the seniors here. Just really quickly on the actual vote itself, I think it might have been a clerical error. It was a 5-2 vote to approve with 1 abstention and 1 person not present. So that's why you didn't see somebody's, there was just somebody who wasn't there, so we didn't mark any vote for them.
Okay. So there wasn't
Thank
a
you.
no vote, there was an abstention.
There were 2 no votes.
2 no votes, yeah.
2 no votes. Okay, got it. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, commission members, questions?
Yeah,
comments?
Madam Chair, just a couple comments. I was raised in this neighborhood. This is greatly needed. You very seldom see a lot of projects in this area of the city, to be totally honest. So this, I commend you guys. The second thing, I'm glad that you guys didn't put a gable roof on this because it would have looked like every other tax credit project that, quite frankly, we fell into a rut in this city, right? So I commend you on that. Lastly, and more importantly, I think consideration should be given to how people traverse that parking lot. We can probably come up with something creative to enhance that experience. I don't know if it's artwork or pause points or something that, so it's a pretty long walk. But to kind of create something a little more animated and a little more engaging, you know, there's concepts around healing gardens and things like that, that you might be able to use some of those principles potentially. But I think there's an opportunity here to really capitalize on this flag shaped parcel. Thank you.
Okay.
The CDC is on. Did you want to hear something this well?
Unless they have anything extra. So, anything else? Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, I guess it's start clarifying, so for the approval, it was 2 no votes or 1 no vote?
It seems like there's 2 at local, which it went 5-2, which is fine. And this is conceptual approval. So for me, usually when you get a lot of feedback, you got feedback from the planner, you got feedback from the committee, you got feedback from the here, and they're gonna come back and make sense of what you can and can't do and why.
Well, I like to move to approve the conceptual design for docket number 019 with the caveat that the applicant continues to work with staff and also take in consideration the comments that were made herein.
Second.
Motion and a second. Call the roll, Michael?
Yes.
Luther,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes.
McKnight,
Yes.
Sargent.
Sergeant? Andrew? Must be away. We'll call him as a,
That's an abstain.
abstain. Okay.
There he is.
Sorry,
we have
I
a
was having
vote?
Some connection problems. Vote yes.
Okay, thank you. Motion carries. Thank you very much. We'll see you back soon.
The hesitation.
Yeah, make a note of the hesitation.
So, the next item is Northeast Design Review 2023-028. This is a for efficiency project. This is seeking final approval. This is at 5103, 5107, 5113. First time I've ever seen a question mark, 5116 question mark. 5125, oh my goodness, do I have to read all these? This is on Luther Avenue and there's a lot of addresses. How's that? Packy Highland.
I'm Dan.
You're Dan Highland.
He is
He is not here. So do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth as you shall answer to the penalty of perjury?
I do.
Note that the planning commission granted conceptual approval with conditions on December 15th. We said that the applicant should continue to investigate a more appropriate vernacular product type with various variations across the product type. I do recall this, and I do recall liking this project. Go ahead.
Just to clarify, I'd like to say that for this specific project, the idea was to potentially move down the street, but right now we're only focusing on the 2 houses.
Okay.
So that would be, thank you. Okay, perfect. Hopefully I use it correctly. So it's mainly 5229 and 5211 /5209 because those will be 2 lots that will be consolidated.
Okay, so say that again, just so we can note them.
Yeah, so it's
what?
5229 as well, 5229 and 5211.
5229 and 5221. So these are the 2 that we are acting on today for final approval.
Yeah. And 5221 will be combined with 5209, I believe, potentially. So, 5229 is a county land bank, and then the 5211 and 5209.
Okay, so we are here for 2 homes
2
only.
homes, yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Just a reintroduction of the project, we're, building low-income housing for low-income individuals. It's going to be a super energy efficient, Energy Star certified house with solar power. It's fully funded at this time, and we're in collaboration with the Metropolitan Ministry and Cuyahoga County Land Bank, and then we got funding from the county for a grant as well as from other donors as well. So we took into consideration, the ideas from the last planning commission that we went through the design review again, I believe around last week-ish. Here's one of the houses. We tweaked some of the windows from design review as well since we went there. This is the other one, basically the materials, we're doing more modern materials. It's gonna be a, sort of a steel siding that mimics wood. And it's either lap, or batten, or plank siding. And then, those come in a variety of colors as well. It's just a view of the backyard. Patio there. These, we build the houses in the factory and they're panelized, and they take them to the side and we put them up on the foundation. And that's how we do that. This is where we're planning to do it. So we're going to be building on the bright yellow lot there. And then the two blue lots are the ones that we consolidated. And because right now the one is in foreclosure, so we had to skip. We're hoping to potentially eventually come back and build in between the houses, and then 2 more or 3 more down the street as well. So, but for now it's just the 2. Here's a view from the street. Luther Avenue, it's the Richmond Brothers building on the right. We did go through PetBot, and they said they were going to look into changing the street parking here so that the street parking currently is you cannot park there during the day, but you can park overnight. So that's what we're hoping to do, and park there for more than 2 hours. This is the neighbor's house in the context with that, and then the newer designs on the left, down the street towards the west. This is the existing site. This would be approximately where the first house, or the house closest to the neighbor would be. And then we've been working with Jennifer Kitch as well as arborists on getting rid of the invasive species and clearing the trees for solar access, or the ability to have solar power there, and replanting native trees and such that will be lower than the solar in the front and side, and then anything needed in the back. This is an interior view with one. Things in the house. Mainly the bicycle and trash bins will be in the front porch, and they're obviously I can go back to show you it's kind of one of the things I'm scrambling here. One of the things we discussed in the design review was the look of the CMU blocks with a bit of a board and batten above it, and they were hoping to have something a little less industrial. So we're going to do a colored block and probably something a little bit more architectural in a sense, rather than a more bunker looking. And then just the plan set.
I think we're okay. I don't think we need to see the plan. Remember?
I really like this sort of cottage feel. It reminds me of that street in Huff right behind Chester.
Newton.
On Newton.
Yeah.
Not that I'm trying to compare it to the history, but it could take on that sort of feel, right? So I commend you guys for being brave enough to build across the street.
Especially trying to get the solar with the
Exactly,
giant.
and that's south facing too, so that's a whole nother conversation.
And thank you for, I think, revisiting the architecture a little
Yeah,
bit.
of
It's a
course.
lot better, and I like it, and I like the variation. I think.
Agreed. Yeah, and it lends itself as well to even more variation down the line.
Yeah.
So I think that helps a lot, and I agree. I like the way it looks more as well. So.
And once it's built, I sorry to interrupt. I really want to see this, and the idea is that this model works, and it's one floor, and it is accessible, universal design.
Yep.
People can age in place in neighborhoods as options. It really could be something that could be utilized across the city. So
Agreed,
thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, no, I just had a quick question, Madam Chair. Could we go back to the site context plan?
Are you wanting the rendering?
No, just I want to make sure I'm clear on the lots that we're
But
Oh,
you're,
okay, oh, yeah, gotcha.
that one, please. Sorry,
No, right.
there you go, okay, so yellow and then 2 blues.
Yes, correct.
And
So-
then, oh, sorry.
No,
and
no,
then
go ahead.
Just the, I guess, golden yellow, if we wanna call it
Yeah.
that. Is that you, besides the foreclosure one, which I understand, you would want to do that golden yellow also?
The brighter yellow, actually.
Or I know we're here today for.
Oh, yeah.
But future. you were
Future,
saying-
future, hopefully at some point you will be able to get the red and the golden yellow and combine those and then have a house up there as well.
Okay.
And then continue with the green and then the purple will be split. Too, and we would just combine it, 2 and 2.
Okay.
And I have a question. Are you proposing that these two designs will just be alternating down the street for phase B as well?
No, we'll probably do different designs for the next houses, try and, make them work. Mr. Potato House.
You remember that, didn't you? See?
Yes.
Sticks
No,
with
no, I don't know. Let's not go there. So,
I'll commend the sustainable initiatives. I think that's super important and I really appreciate those considerations.
Thank you.
Is that a motion?
Oh, yeah, I'll motion to approve, add this NE 2023-028 project, as presented.
You have a second?
Second.
Motion in 2 seconds. Do you have what you need? Who would you like to pick?
Motion is for final approval of the 2 homes.
Final.
Parcels.
Yes,
Yes.
final approval of 5221 and 5229 Luther Avenue
5211.
and 5211.
Is that correct? Yeah, I think it's 5229 and 5211/5219, those will be.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anthony,
Yes.
Luker,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes.
McKnight,
Yes.
Sargent.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. Can't wait to come see these. Maybe in the future we can, I know that some come with several, but we need to get the addresses correct in the future.
We'll make sure to clean up the administrative.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Next one's design review, Downtown Flats, DF 2023-041. This is Globe Iron Rehab. This is seeking schematic at 2325 Elm Street. We saw this for conceptual approval on November 3rd and asked that the applicant coordinate their activities with the county pavement restriction plan and incorporate the design review's comments. Is Jesse here or online? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth as you shall answer to the penalty of perjury?
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. These are all photos from the 80s. So we presented a month or so ago. So I'll go over some of the changes we made in the time from before. So as an update, the 2 buildings were demolished on the site next between the Globe Iron Foundry and the bridge. So those 2 buildings were removed, and the outbuildings attached to the 4-story Globe Iron building were also removed, and the elevator tower was also removed. So we have some updated existing condition photos on the next slide. You see to the left there. And what we kind of discovered is once the 1 building was removed, there's 5 existing steel windows on the facade facing Main Street. And then there's kind of like 3 different types of brick conditions facing Main Street. The far left and the bottom left corner picture, the brick is in relatively good shape. There's a little bit of parapet work that needs to be done. The middle building, that is also in pretty decent shape, but the facade is painted. And then the far right end of it, that brick is in the worst condition. We're working with Frost Building Renovation, who does a lot of work on historical projects. And we're looking to parge over top with the cement-based stucco to help keep that wall watertight without having to reconstruct the whole historic wall. And we'll go, I think, have a little bit more detail on that in the upcoming slides. Here are some of the existing photos of what that wall looks like facing Main Street once the demolition occurred. Next slide, please.
This is an overall site plan of all the blocks just for reference. So we're proposing site work to the parcel that is formerly known as Spruce Avenue, which has been vacated. We're proposing work on the site, some site work on the parcels that were demolished next to the Globe Iron Foundry building. And then also repaving and restriping the county lot underneath the bridge. And I think this came up during our review meeting yesterday. The 4 curb cuts we're showing there for the parking lot are existing. We're looking at changing the radius at the moment. But I think as we told them, we're looking at maybe restudying if all 4 are needed, or we can maybe reduce some of the curb cuts or just block off the existing curb cuts that are still there. So that's something we're going to explore for the final design review. Next slide. Here's a closer up of the proposed site plan. One of the bigger changes we made since the last time you saw this presentation is within the courtyard. There's a relatively large grade change between Center Street and Elm Street. We're able to get some survey points, and we developed this scheme within the courtyard that involves a couple of tiers and ADA ramps, so some large tread depth steps going down into the elevation into the main entry during show events, as well as ADA ramps to get to different tiers within that site plan. On the service side, we pushed back the fence a little bit further down Spruce, and then we redesigned the sidewalk that follows old Spruce Avenue and try to make that a little bit more organic and a little more comfortable for pedestrians to walk through and get between Elm Street and Center Street. The other things we modified is we provided a new entry off of the elevation to Main Street. So just as a reminder, this show will host concert events, but it'll also host private events. So the goal for those doors facing Main Street would be for private event entry. For concerts and music type of shows, they're still entering through the courtyard gates and preloading into the courtyard before going into the venue during the larger shows. Next slide, please. Landscaping wise, we're showing some trees within the courtyard. Because of the 4-story building, we did a little bit, our landscape designers did a little bit more study on the shade and sun. So we are right now speccing some shade tolerant trees for within the courtyard, just so we could do what we can to make sure they survive and thrive within that space. And then most of the landscaping around the property stayed relatively the same since last time. Within the courtyard, or go to the next slide, please. This is our plant palette. So the one that's within the courtyard is that top left tree that was a little bit more shade tolerant than most other trees, the Acer X. So that's what we're considering right now for the courtyard. And then the rest of our plant palette you can see below. For the materials in the courtyard, we're still looking at the limestone base for most of it, except for the ADA ramps and at the main door entries where we need a frost slab. The steps will be constructed of pavers, and some site accents will still be pavers. Where we have the steps, we're showing some step lighting within the steps themselves to help illuminate the space and accent it at nighttime. And again, we're still considering the artificial turf for the courtyard. Again, our landscape designer did a little bit more research into it, and because of the amount of shade it gets throughout the day, to keep kind of a lush green surface, we're still proposing the artificial turf within the courtyard itself. Outside the courtyard would be natural grass. Next slide. There's a little bit more of the materials we're looking at using. We have some of the light fixture types that we're exploring for within the courtyard. So for the most part, we're using baller lights, step lights, and a few string lights to light up the courtyard at nighttime. We're still analyzing the foot candles that we get within there and figure out how many we need. You can see we're proposing bike racks on both sides of the property off of Spruce and towards Main Street. And then our inspiration page and concept page for some of the exterior stay the same from presentation. Next slide, please. Here's a floor plan for reference. Again, the existing stage, and the stage loading is towards the Spruce side. The plan does rotate, so I apologize for that. Main Street is down towards the bottom of the page, and you can see the lobby in the light purple and the new Main Street entry in the gray towards Main Street. One of the other things we were looking at doing to help our presence on Elm Street is we're looking at maybe adding a little bit more transparency at the VIP entry, which is the outswing door to the bottom right on this plan. Maybe adding some transparent windows there and adding a canopy to help our presence on Elm Street a little bit more. Next slide, please. This is just a mezzanine plan for reference. If you want to go to the next slide, please. Here are the exterior elevations. So there you see the proposed VIP entrance, Spruce Street elevations, and you can see the Spruce Street North elevation. You can see the tiering and the elevation change within the courtyard itself. Next slide, please. This is the elevation facing Main Street. So we got 3 separate sections. So the far left section will remain the existing brick and tuck point as needed. We want to try to preserve 3 of the historical steel windows that are there, reseal it, maybe put some new glazing in. If we still have issues with leaks, I think we're considering storm windows. So we want to do all we can to keep the original steel framing within those openings intact. And then we create one of the openings as our private event entry and then a box office windows at the other window. The middle section is painted brick now, so we'll repaint it. And then the far right section where you see the placeholder signage, we had a 2-coat line based stucco that will get painted as well. And then just as a reminder, all the artwork and signage on the plan or the page is just to show placement intent. The actual design and artwork and signage will be submitted at a later time for approval. Next slide, please. Here are the updated renderings. So this is on the corner of Elm and former Spruce. Next slide. This is standing on Elm looking up towards Center Avenue. So we have some more landscaping, some more site benches along that pedestrian way. Next slide, please. And here's a bird's eye view looking at that side and elevation of the property. Next slide, please. Another bird's eye view looking the other way. Next slide, please. This is a slightly elevated view looking from under the bridge towards the Main Street elevation of the building. You can see our canopy that we proposed last time, the 3 existing windows, the new private event canopy, and then our placeholder marquee sign that would go on the Main Street elevation as well. Next slide. This is looking Elm under the bridge towards the building. We are also proposing some landscape buffers around the new parking lot, and I think we talked about this at our design review yesterday. We're showing an ornamental fence in here, but I believe for code we got to look at a masonry or solid wall instead of the plantings. Next slide. Here's a bird's eye view from kind of up towards the bridge, so you can start seeing the stepping and tiering within the courtyard space itself. Next slide. Here's another view. This is kind of a bistro table setup that could be in the courtyard. Again, the courtyard's kind of meant to be very flexible and be able to cater multiple different types of events. The area to the bottom left, that area is kind of one of the lower points where you see the green surface here in the bistro table. So that way that surface aligns with those deep arches against the 4-story Globe Iron building. And then you can see the ramp along the on the right there going down to the main entry point. Next slide. This is just a view of setting up for a wedding, which they envision would occur during the nicer times of the year here in the space. Next slide.
Can you, while you're going, can you just address the 2 conditions from design review, the 30-foot masonry wall, and I'm not sure what it means about visitor experience and transparency. Just could you just address those?
Yes. Can we go back a couple slides to some of the I think the Main Street showing Elm Street. So I think the one go back one more slide. So I think one of the things we're going to explore was a comment I think came from Planning Commission was just trying to make sure the building didn't look like an empty warehouse throughout all times of the day. So I think what we're going to continue to explore as a way to address those windows on Elm Street as one method, and maybe either illuminate them or kind of create the idea that the building's occupied throughout the whole day. And then also possibly adding some transparent new window openings on the Main Street elevation. instead of the large swath of painted brick that's kind of in the middle of the elevation there. So we're going to explore some of those for the final design review. And then I think if you go back a few more slides to the last bird's eye view here.
Okay.
Go back, sorry. And then in terms of wayfinding, the large parking lot to the top of the page there, I think one of the comments was just making sure that pedestrians and people parking there know how to get to the venue and the other side of the building appropriately. So I think we got to look at ways to create some natural wayfinding and, just make sure everyone knows where they're going and can get their point without any confusion. So that's, I think, one of the big things we got to look at.
And what was the 3-foot masonry wall?
I believe that was the screening around the parking lot. That's the county lot, and the one right below the screen, we're showing like a ornamental fence. I believe we need a masonry screening wall there.
Okay.
To be compliant.
Okay. And there was a comment about review if 4-foot curb cuts are necessary.
Yes. So the overall site plan, there was I think right now there's like 4 existing curb cuts that are on the site plan listed as new, but I think they're new because we're changing the radii on those. I think the goal is to see if we can get that limited to 2 actual access points, and then if they really need the flexibility, they can remove a temporary fence or something like that.
Okay. Thank you. I think we have what we need. Commission members, questions, comments?
Yeah, a question. How, Madam Chair, to the applicant, how are you dealing with the many forms of transportation that might be coming to this venue? Where there's scooters, electric vehicles, etc. Car sharing. That was a question.
We are providing an ample amount of bike parking. I believe I remember your scooter parking from before. I don't think I have a specific rack from that, August, but I think that's something we definitely want to get in there, scooter and that type of parking.
Madam Chair, to the applicant.
We need to, we'll look at that a little bit more closely and try to get that involved within the site plan.
And Madam Chair, to the applicant, an easy way to get scooter parking is to take a few of those parking spaces and bifurcate them or split them up so you create slots where you can park scooters. And I'm talking about electric, some are gas or combustion. I think that would be advisable in my opinion. There's people come in all different forms of transportation.
Thank you. Is there any staff comment before we,
Yeah, thank you. Good morning. Just wanted to cover a couple items, just some quick background before getting into the staff report. So this project originally came in with a series of demolitions, 2 of which were approved, and then a partial demolition connected to the 4th-story. The 4th-story, the applicant has just asked us to see that as a separate project. So we're really just reviewing the foundry side of the property. Just as background, we did motion to postpone the 4th-story, and that is 6 months until May. I flagged that date, so if we don't have a fuller update from economic development before then, I'll just bring it back to you guys to.
That's no longer relevant though, because there's a new case on the books. So.
Pardon me, what was that?
So at the last meeting, we basically had the applicant withdraw that case, the demolition case, and present a new case with partial demo. So that's no longer relevant.
But I guess what I'm getting at is that economic development is sort of preliminarily underway, looking at the project, that phase of the project. So hopefully we'll have an update come in time with that. Getting into the actual site plan that we're looking at today, I think the biggest things, there were some minor comments around things like bike parking that you're getting at, August, just emergency egress, things like that. I think they're showing some stairways as part of their emergency egress, just verifying that that's appropriate. Obviously the masonry screen wall. But the biggest pieces were, addressing visitor experience, both from like a storefront, transparency, fenestration kind of standpoint, But also knowing that if the expectation is to have 1,000, like 1,000 people come to an event, that front parking lot on Main will fill up rather quickly, and the majority of folks are parking behind the building. And how do you make that connection? Essentially, they would pass through parts of the service area, the VIP, the back of house, all of that along Elm to get to the front door, or to come around center across the face of the 4-story building. So just thinking about if those things are supposed to be back of house and VIP and sort of out of sight, out of mind, right now the visitor is seeing all of that. It's also your key architectural components of the building are revealed on that Spruce Street side, being the the triangular roofed building. It's got a lot of beautiful architectural elements that are still blocked in at this point in the design. So some considerations, this is a big investment into the property. I think overall the design review committee was very excited about the changes that have happened from conceptual to now. But some consideration should be given about, where is the stage actually located to actually celebrate the historic nature of that building. Right now, the most beautiful facade of that building is actually still back of house and where the stage is located, and none of that is getting opened up. And I think a lot of these questions about entry could get solved by really, treating that facade as an entry point, knowing how folks are generally coming to the venue.
Thank you. Jeff, or to commission members?
Madam Chair, to Dan's point, I think the design has progressed quite a bit. I'm still not enamored with the interior courtyard space design. There's a lot of just seems like unresolved geometry. That center like arc or circle where the steps are radiating from seems like a strong starting point. The ADA ramp seems like, again, it's tucked in as like an afterthought, not really like a part of the design. The half circle things that are adjacent to the building also seem a bit weird to me, especially with the gray change and like the railing adjacent. There's just some things that I think like with occupying the space that just doesn't seem like they work really well. I think like you can in a render throw a lot of people within an image, but for me, like looking at what's going on, it feels like it's kind of generally hard to navigate the interior courtyard space. I think Dan's point about kind of the realities of circulation and entry when it's actually, it's like a really active venue or something to be considered as well.
And Madam Chair, to staff, I guess I need some direction here. We can't see that. It's not, you can't see it from a public rights of way. So if we can't see it, should we be deliberating about it? I don't know, it's a question. As a planning entity, design's a different animal. Obviously that's been vetted on another level. So I just wanted to throw that out there so that I'm very clear about what we're charged here with today. Thank you.
I mean, the rehab project is kind of the center point of it, and then the landscape is how, it is the site plan of how it all circulates and how.
But we can't see it. If I stood right now, or just if you virtually put yourself in this space, you don't even know it exists. We don't know it's there. It's like a private courtyard. So, I'm not trying to be contrary. I'm just trying to understand how we progress this project, because I don't know if that's what we should be doing. I don't know. It's a question for all of us, I suppose.
If I may, one consideration, and it's up to you guys to decide how to think of it, but if the 4-story were to come down, then it is visible. And I think that's part of when the application originally came in, it was a multi-piece, including the removal of that with the courtyard taking up that space. I think that's part of why we continue to look at it, but whether or not.
But if it doesn't come down, then why are we talking about it? Right now, I can only in my brain process what is. and not what might be. That,
Right, and
Okay.
we wouldn't have an opportunity to review the courtyard at a later date when it comes down, because again, it would be approved and
I
completed.
understand, but you're trying to forecast. We're trying to forecast, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we should review what's in front of us.
I don't know if it helps, but the courtyard is technically on the 4-story building, so if that 4-story building does come down in the future, I believe the courtyard and that parcel would still be under design review, possibly.
Michael, do you have thoughts about visibility?
Madam Chair, to the Director. In my opinion, the entire project is the burden of the design and commission, all aspects of it that deal with how it's going to function, how it's going to feel, how it's going to look. That would include the courtyards.
Okay, well, so where do you draw that line, or where is that line? Because we never talk about the interior of buildings, right? And I consider this an interior courtyard.
Madam Chair, to the Commissioner, it's part of the site plan.
Okay, fine. I'm gonna leave it alone. I think we should think about it, but it's just my personal opinion.
So this is for schematic approval, so I think there is still many items that for consideration, both from design review from this commission, about things to continue to develop as you come back. We're not gonna list all of them, but they are listed in the conditions that we have before us. I think you have the comments from Andrew Sargent and others of things to consider in terms of the further development of this project. But I do agree it has made quite a bit of progress since conceptual approval as well. So.
May I clarify something with the staff report? So there's only 2 items listed on this agenda that Michael Bozek has presented to us. Is that accurate?
Actually, there are more. They're just all in one
they're all
bullet.
together.
So if you look at it, the first bullet has actually multiple things in it. So I think, and I think the comments here are made, so we can add these to them.
And these were the conditions set by the committee members, and then we had an additional staff report that was presented to the committee that we included here as well.
Okay. So staff report's a little different than what the.
All right, I'll try to make a motion here, Madam Chair. I move to approve the schematic design for item number 041, Globe Iron Rehab, with the condition that the applicant continue to look at the influence of multimodal travel, curb cuts, masonry walls, and the visitor experience, and take into consideration how the courtyard might relate to how one might approach or use it.
Excellent. There's a motion. Look at you. Look at you. We have a second.
Second.
Motion and a second. Do you have all that, Michael? Okay. I'll call the.
Anthony.
Yes.
Luker.
Yes.
Curry.
Yes.
McKnight.
Yes.
Sargent.
No.
Motion carries. All right, we'll see you back here. It would be good in the future to maybe have, I think today we're seeing a little bit of things that aren't sort of like buttoned up in terms of both, not only what the case numbers are, but now also what we are seeing that is coming officially from local versus staff. So I do think we need a little bit more coordination or consolidation is what I would say.
Yeah, Madam Chair, thank you. We've had a kind of a off few weeks with schedules and vacation.
Understand, just noting, thank you. Next item is also in flats. This is 2024-007. This is the 2024 NCAA Women's Final Four signage and branding package. I feel conflicted because I'm so excited about this, but I don't think that's a conflict. So do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth as you shall answer to the penalty of perjury?
Yes, I do.
State your name as you present.
I'm sorry, I'm Monica Gustin.
Mike Mulhaupt.
Okay, welcome, welcome. And this is for final approval.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much. We are here requesting approval for our temporary event banners. Yesterday, we met with Downtown Flats Design and had a very productive meeting, and look forward to any questions as they arise. Before we dive in, just wanted to, so our event, Final Four is the April 5th. The championship game is the 7th. So the Final Four teams won't be determined until April 1st and 2nd. So where you see school logos, they will likely change just because of the nature of the tournament.
Iowa, Ohio State.
We'll take that. Speak it.
I don't know if we can afford the tickets if that were to happen.
Finals.
Yes. Just kidding. So what we've outlined here at the beginning is just a lot of background on why colors were chosen, on why branding elements were chosen. So this is just mostly for background. A lot of the themes you will see will stay consistent with our vertical compositions. Motion principles are taken into account because it's women's basketball. Again, here, horizontal compositions you'll see throughout. And then team specific, as I noted, we will just have different colors if it is Iowa, Ohio State,
LSU.
Fingers crossed, LSU, all the above. So South Carolina, all of that.
I just said.
So going to just jump in here to just citywide branding, and all of this that we are proposing is less than 30 days or just at that 30-day marker. So just good to understand. Also, everything except for this Coca-Cola 3D bracket has been done for NBA All-Star 2022, NFL Draft in 2021, and Major League Baseball in 2019. So repurposing a lot of the great learnings that we had. But jumping in here with the Coca-Cola 3D bracket, working with group planning on housing this bracket in public square over top of where the fountain area is, the splash pad, so we won't disrupt the fountains or anything like that. So that's the footprint that we have here for the bracket. This is what it looks like fully branded. This travels year to year. Last year it was in Dallas for the Women's Final Four. Year before that it was in Minneapolis. And it is updated after every round. It is 800 pounds. And here's this, it does not affix into the ground in any way because of the way it's just able to live as it's installed. It is aluminum tubular framing. And we look to have this up day after St. Patrick's Day, which is also the day after Selection Sunday, to really just enhance the grassroots marketing efforts that we hope to just show off all 64 teams through this. So there was a few questions from design yesterday around this. So I'll pause if that is the protocol for these meetings. Keep going. Okay, thank you. This is the bridge pedestrian walkway connecting the casino to the Jack Casino parking garage. This is actually the northbound looking at it, so apologies for that typo there. It is perforated vinyl, so you'll be able to see through very, very well. And it is different on both sides, highlighting our script Cleveland that we love, as well as the event itself. Tower City Center working with Bedrock companies to have these up as just another iconic place for signage for the event. And then pole banner locations working with Drew and Downtown Cleveland Inc. All of the red dots on this map will be Final Four branded. So pretty considerable amount that we'll have going up around our event locations. And then these are the designs for pole banners working within all the regulations that come through with Drew and his team. East 4th Street, on all of the fencing on the pedestrian area of East 4th Street, looking to cover similarly to what the Cavs have done for All-Star and playoffs to create just even more of that downtown vibrant feel with the event. Terminal tower lighting, working with K&D on not only the top of Terminal Tower for that dynamic lighting, but we'll have the Final Four event logo, the trophy logo in full color, and then the 4 Final Four teams in black and white projected through those 5th, 6th, and 7th nights of April. Script signs, as we've done in the past, really excited to have a women's basketball NCAA event included in this, working with our friends at Destination Cleveland, Edgewater, Metro Parks, to have them in Tremont, Edgewater Park, North Coast Harbor, and the one at the airport. We will also be installing the temporary Cleveland sign with our friends at Destination Cleveland, West Camp, signature signs, and Independence Excavating for this really iconic one outside of Rocket Mortgage. It was very popular during NBA All-Star as well. RTA trolleys, this is more for awareness of our overall kind of city takeover with the event. We'll be branding the B line and the E line trolley routes. And then this is just for context of what our media by creative will look like, just for, everything is going to be looking the same. Hotel exteriors, Marriott Key Tower will have generic branding, and for all of our hotel properties, we've gotten their approval as well. So Marriott Key Tower is a headquarter property for us, so it'll be that generic event branding. The Westin will be a team hotel, so this is subject to change with the team that will be staying there. The Hyatt is a team hotel, so subject to change. The Intercon, we're excited at all of the retail space that we have here to brand, but it will change as it is a team hotel. Crown Plaza is the generic branding, as it is our media location. And then the Renaissance will be finalized closer to the renovation status. About March 13th is when we'll have this finalized, but this is a team property. Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, the team logos will hopefully stay the same, but may change. So this is that west exterior, the south exterior, east exterior, working very closely with Gateway Economic Development Corporation as well on all things for the plaza, but out exterior of this space as well. Excited for this bridge wrap. It's something that we haven't done in the past. So this will be that perforated vinyl connecting the Eastgate Garage to the field house. And then exterior for entrances will be in the NCAA branding, but will have sponsors logos included in that. So wanted to make everybody aware. It will be, again, event branded. So here's the Cliffs entrance, which is dedicated to Capital One. The Huron Road entrance, which is dedicated to AT&T. Ontario Street entrance. And then the DDM entrance, which is off of that Gateway Plaza. We're working very closely on all things for this weekend, as the home opener for the Guardians is that Monday, April 8th. Working with them just to see, their iconic Stand for the Land on that parking garage is a great space for temporary signage. So just working through what can we get up and down from the April 7th to April 8th to make sure that we're being good partners to them as well. And then lastly, our convention center entrance will just be on, nothing will be affixed to the building. We're doing all glass adhesion. So left window of our entry and right window. This is a great example of that Capital One branding, but it's within the event branding as well. And our exit, which is on the St. Clair side, our dedicated exit on Superior's. So I will pause for questions. I know that was quick, but first wanted to thank the committee for their time. We don't get to do this very often. We're hoping to more and more with these large events. So it was a new process for us. So appreciate all the team's help.
Question, I think I asked this in the previous big events, and there was a good answer. What do you do with all the material after?
So anything that is affixed like to windows, obviously we can't repurpose, but as far as street pole banners and any other large scale banner that we have, people love to take these with them for their she sheds or man caves or the like. But otherwise we're looking into repurposing for like tote bags and those type of things.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I mean.
It'd be
It's a
more
lot
of
of
a repurpose.
content to put in landfills, but as much as you can, there's a reuse for them.
Yeah, the street pole banners people absolutely
Yeah.
love as a souvenir
Okay.
from the event, so we
What's the
definitely
method, who, does Destination Cleveland manage that? Who manages
Downtown
that,
Cleveland Incorporated.
this sort of the strategy for repurposing? No, I mean the overall strategy for all of the, if you will, sort of trying to make sure that all of this
We
is
will lead
reused.
that.
You will.
Yep.
Okay, good. Okay.
It's unanimously approved
Yeah.
and committee.
Yeah.
And we're excited. It's going to be a busy weekend because it's also totality on April 8th.
Oh, yeah.
So
We have a whole bunch of scientists coming on our roof to do research.
I can't.
Madam Chair, I just have one comment. With the placement of the bracket, might it be a better placement, maybe on the center of the opposite side where the lawn space is? I feel that area adjacent to the fountain just might be cluttered. There's a lot of other kind of things that have been added to Public Square. I think like a central location for something of that size makes sense, and also in kind of consideration with some of the stuff adjacent to
The
the
other
Cleveland
side,
sign.
though. No one goes to the other quadrant. Yeah, the only issue is, for me, no one goes to the other side, to be honest. Yeah.
We even had ideas of putting this on Mall C's with the weight of it. They asked it not to be on grass because it will sink just because of the weight of it.
it'll be north of the fountain area.
It's only gonna be up there for how long?
From the 18th to the 7th, March 18th to April 7th.
2
But we
weeks.
can certainly look at it.
2 or 3 weeks.
Anything to get people to the square.
Yeah, anything to get
I mean,
people to
'cause
the
right
square.
now, it's.
I
it's
mean,
not
I
a good
would
passing
honestly
space.
err for where you can do it, but where more people will interact with it versus not where more people won't, so it drives people there. But
And one part I forgot to mention, it will be 24/7 security, just to prevent anybody from climbing on it.
Right.
And we followed the direction from the folks at Public Squares from a
Right.
placement standpoint. They know the infrastructure below the ground and things like that. So
Okay.
we're really open to making sure it's functional.
Anyone? Motion? No.
I'll motion to approve the 2024 NCAA Women's Final Four signage as presented.
Second. Motion and a second. Call the roll.
Tempest,
Yes.
Hooper,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes.
McKnight,
Yeah.
Sargent.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You're great.
So we have a couple of mandatory referrals. I'm going to use my prerogative since Destination Cleveland has 3 more. So just do those quickly before we do the mandatory referral, if that's okay. Wait, so hold on. So the public art, which is also designer review, Destination Cleveland's West Second Alley beautification seeking final approval. We saw this before, 205 West St. Clair and West Second. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, as you shall answer to the penalty of perjury.
I do.
Everybody. And when you speak, please state your name for the record.
Sure, I'm Alex Harnotes from Destination Cleveland.
Joe Polo, Senior Art Director from ThunderTech.
Caitlin Stenitis, Senior Graphic Designer from ThunderTech.
All right. So this is the 205 West St. Clair building and the West Second Alley. This is a project that's returning to you after about a month of revisions. I'll recap for the commission and for anyone listening, just the overall of the project, and then I'll let the ThunderTech team talk through the design changes that we've made. So this is an initiative to enliven one of our downtown alleys, West Second, which runs between Public Square and West St. Clair. Some aerials here, basically between the Standard Building and the 205 West St. Clair building, which is a city-owned building. Some context views, neighborhood, our view from the site out on Public Square, and then
down that service alley that runs between 55 Public Square building and 205, which you see on your right. So extent of the project, we're looking at a single-story vinyl applied mural down the length of West Second Alley on the 205 building, a full height mural on that sort of 45-degree chamfered edge of the building that you can see from Public Square, and then painted pavement that sort of spills out into that, hesitate to call it an intersection because it's an alley and an alley, but where those two little passageways come together, we reduced the size of that painted pavement area. There was some concern about cure time and how long we'd have to close that alley, interaction with the project and all of the things that have to happen in those buildings there. So we reduced that area of painted pavement a bit, and I think it's a nice design change. Talking just quickly about the materials, everything applied to the building will be done in heat applied vinyl rough wrap. We use a local vendor for this, Sherba Industries. All these shapes will be cut in sheets and applied, and it's able to be, you know, custom cut around obstructions, windows, security cameras, anything we need to cut out or cut around. For the paint on the roadway, this is the product that was previously approved and used on the crosswalks in Asiatown. So we use that Sherwin-Williams exterior traffic marking paint. So changes to the design. I'll let the ThunderTech team talk about how we've sort of evolved this. I know there were some small comments back from staff that I think we can address and hopefully come to a conclusion on this one. So go ahead.
Yeah.
Caitlin, just explain this concept, and you were the artist behind this, and there's a lot of really great meaning and life behind this.
Yeah, so this received a facelift from the last time you saw it. We kind of sat with this from an art perspective and wanted to bring more light to the community of Cleveland while approaching it abstractly and artistically. So this is a kind of approach to the organic nature of how our community's been formed. And so while appearing as more of an artistic kind of background to our city, each shape is actually completely unique to itself. Everything is hand created and then thus will be vinyl applied. But it's really speaking to the nature of our interwoven community. And so every shape is a unique individual piece. And when pieced together, it creates a really fluid and dynamic kind of living organism, if you will. There's directional elements that kind of speak to our energy and our city life. And then there's linear and full shapes that speak to kind of the diversity that we have woven into our culture. Another level that we added was ways to kind of allow someone to dive deeper into the mural itself. And so lengthening the time that someone spends with this mural, hiding hidden shapes inside these organic blobs that speak to different backgrounds of Cleveland. So if you can see in there, you might find a baseball, there's a leaf hidden in there, a heart, a football, and a beer bottle. So those are just some beginning thoughts behind elements that speak to kind of the culture of Cleveland. And the idea is that QR code to be scannable. And someone would be directed to a Destination Cleveland branded list that kind of gives them a hidden picture list to continue searching for. And we could even go so far as having informational blurbs with those illustrations to kind of give backing to why these kind of pertain to the city of Cleveland. This will reach across that entire first story mural and then expand upwards to this very tall mural wrapping around the window shape. This becomes a bit more organic. We have a bit more room to play with, integrating off of the bends and curves of the building. And then as you'll see, we intend it to kind of flow onto the floor, which in future projects, I know Sherwin-Williams is being put up. So this speaks to not only the nature of the city and our artistic approach, our cultural approach to Cleveland, but really in the area that it's being presented, it also kind of has that nod to the paint, the abstraction of color. In here, I think I threw in the free stamp just to give you guys a better idea of what we could hide in here. As grand and living of an organism as this mural is, there's so many things we could sneak in for someone to kind of sit and wander. And every time a picture is taken, someone might find something new. It would incentivize storytelling, posting, and sharing.
You did mention the sharing and posting. I think this is the thing that people can, it's very Instagrammable. People can take their photos with it, and just being in other cities and seeing how Cleveland's kind of like the type of public art that people see and how engaging it is for visitors to stop and look at, to photograph, to take their selfie with.
Thank you very much. Tara, or staff, or anything else you want to add?
Thank you. Thank you for that explanation of the artwork. That was interesting. I did see some of the hidden elements, like I saw the free stamp. I thought that was really cool. I did have a couple of questions or comments about the Land for Life portion of it. I know on the first iteration, thanks for adding the QR code too, because that wasn't here before, so people could get more information about it. But on the first iteration, the Land for Life was contained within that architectural element of the building, so it doesn't kind of pivot around the architectural details. So I don't know if that's still an option or if it's intentional. And then I wanted to know if the blue and orange lines, those are going to be individually applied. And then I was talking with our downtown class design administrator, downtown planner, I'm sorry, and we thought about if you're coming east on St. Clair, if you're going west on St. Clair, you'll notice this and want to engage and go down the alley. But if you're coming east, you don't see anything, so we thought about maybe the possibility of wrapping some of that around a little bit to the front of the building, so you see it from either side and you're drawn into the alley space.
So Tara, I think that's a great suggestion. We did have all the text contained in that sort of frame area in the first bay. I think we'd be open to condensing that into there and then perhaps extending the organic shapes onto the sort of corner column and around a little bit. I think we stayed off of that because you got historical marker and signage and cameras, but even if there was just a little peek of that around the corner, I think it would make a difference.
There was on the ground, perhaps, that could be on the ground and wrap around if you'd be, not have as many limitations as you have in the building facade.
Could be.
And my last comment was the change of validity at the top of the mural. Was that to stay within the architectural features, but it's a straight line across instead of validity that you see on the other side of the building?
Yeah, how it's contained here. You might be able to speak to this more, but if we are approved for below first level, this is where it would be contained, also for ease of application. This being able to be printed in sheet vinyl versus having to cut, hand cut more organic shapes. That could also be readjusted. I could see us kind of organically cutting off the top, so it's not linearly meeting that first floor. But right now, as it stands, I think it's due to where we were approved to print.
Yeah, I think that was the idea down this first story section, was that, you know, this would be printed in sheets and installers could sort of justify them to that I'm losing the architecture term, but the line in the brick, there's a piece of relief there. They could justify it there and basically fill up those spaces with the sheets.
It was unanimously approved at downtown.
Thank you. Commission members? This is here for final approval, so we can have any alterations or minor things go to staff if that's, it doesn't have to come back here, just so you know, because I know timing is of the essence, so.
Yeah, we're hoping to get moving on this as soon as it's warm enough to do the rough wrap.
Okay.
We're working with real estate and the other city divisions necessary to get all the permissions on that building, but I wanted to hear from you all first.
First, I want to thank you for, spending the time and making the revisions, and I think it's much improved, so thank you very much.
I agree. We love the way it's evolved and under Tech's help.
I agree, Madam Chair. I have a larger question. It might be more provocative and not, may not need to have this conversation here, but as we evolve and as we grow as a city, downtown density, My concern is no one's owning the downtown experience, you know? And then I think there should be a strategy around how we improve, you know, not just the physical stuff, but, you know, art or branding and how that sort of manifests itself as this city becomes, you know, hopefully downtown becomes more animated. So I hope we start having those conversations. I think there's some wonderful opportunities here to do more, what's before us. But I think it needs to be curated, and you know, at least there's a strategy behind it.
I think that's a point well taken. I'll share that we do work closely with Downtown Cleveland Inc. and with the city planning department, and so I think that those relationships are strong. But I point well taken on overall strategy.
Okay, thank you.
I'll move to approve as presented, the West Second Alley beautification.
I'll second.
Motion and a second, call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Fluker,
Yes.
Curry.
Yes.
Knight,
Yes.
Carson.
Yes. Motion carried. The next item is also Destination Cleveland 2024-005.
Thank you.
This is Destination Cleveland badge sculptures. I don't need to swear you in again. These are for conceptual approval. Superior Avenue at East 93rd, Mall C, West 3rd, and St. Clair Avenue.
Yes, thanks again. So objectives for this is a semi-permanent public art piece. We are looking to lease these 3 pieces from Le Mans Studio in Montreal. They're being custom built for us, and it's basically a 3-year term to activate 3 spaces sort of emanating out from the new entrance, St. Clair entrance of the convention center. Trying to offer a photo opportunity that's consistent, again, with our branding of the region, and to use light and sound to activate public spaces. So this is some examples of Le Mans interactive work. This is a series called Harmonies that was running in Texas, just wrapped up. Gives you a good idea of sort of the quality and scale of things that they build. So for us, we've asked them to work up an interactive sculpture that responds to the badge element that we use in a lot of our branding, as well as some of these brand colors that you just saw in the West 2nd Alley. So these installations, they'd be about 14 feet wide, 2 feet deep, 6 feet tall. And the idea is that you sit in it, you stand in front of it. They do not need integrated power. They're powered by that crank. And so, you know, some low voltage LED kind of lighting lights up once you turn the crank, and they're also able to have some interactive sound with them. So you crank it up so that the lights go, you take a photo, you take your short video, that sort of thing. Just another sense of scale. So the first site that we've identified for these is basically at the visual termination of the malls on Superior Avenue, right in front of the 200 Public Square building. As you can see, when we turn it around, you've got that sort of visual axis back from the Fountain of Eternal Life in Mall C. So this site, again, the badge sculpture being about 2 feet wide would occupy this footprint right here. We can set it back about 8.5 feet from the curb, and that still gives you 20 feet of clear distance before the building line, plus another 8 or 10 up to those doors, the Superior side doors of 200 Public Square. You get a real wide sidewalk here on Superior. Clear distances to the nearest other obstructions, 12 feet to the street tree, 29 feet to the bus shelter, which you can see in this view looking down Superior. What we're working out right now with Public Works is how to affix these to the sidewalk. The goal is to get them anchored in, again, a semi-permanent way. One thing I didn't mention about that 3-year lease is that one of the terms in it is that these can move annually. We hope we do so. You know, sort of evaluate after you know, summer into fall whether these want to move, but we'd like to move them around the city annually. So finding the right balance of permanence and stability and safety for them, but also the ability to pick them up and move them in a year if that's the desire. The second site, this one presents a few additional challenges, but we'd really like to pursue it, is at the top of Mall C. We would leave a 3-foot clear distance behind it, you know, so that people can walk behind it and all around it. That's a learning from the NFL draft when we placed the helmets temporarily right up against the flower bed, and a lot of things got trampled as people went behind them to take photos. You know, as you can see, and as you probably remember from that event in 2021, these were wildly popular. It was kind of fun to see the lineups to take pictures with some of the favorite teams on Mall C leading up to the draft. And so using this site, again, visual access right down the center of the malls and the great backdrop to the lakefront, we think are a solid site. Again, acknowledging that this is the roof of the convention center, we may have to get a little bit creative about how we get stability for that piece. Might have to have a wider base, working on that with Public Works and with real estate to make sure that we come to the right conclusion there. But the piece itself would not change, and this is our preferred location for it. And then the third and final location is at West 3rd and St. Clair. This one might come as a little more of a surprise to you, as it's not as prominent of a location at this moment. But we've selected this site in anticipation of a mural being installed on the rear of the parking garage. I know that that is a project that Downtown Cleveland Inc. has in their pipeline right now. And so we would hope that this would become a photo opportunity in front of that mural. We'd offset the sculpture about 3.5 feet from the face of that fence. Again, leaving plenty of sidewalk space and plenty of space coming back from that bus stop on St. Clair. All three of these sites have been reviewed by PetBot without objections from them. I think the only comment we had was on the 200 Public Square version to make sure we had enough offset from those front doors. We've had no objection to that so far from the building owner. Trying to remember anything else that came out of PetBot. I think that was the only issue. And again, these were approved yesterday out of Downtown Flats Design Review.
Okay.
I believe the mall location will be going to Landmarks next week.
Okay, thank you. Staff or any other comments?
Tara, did you have anything else to add?
Yeah, like you said, it did go to PetBot. It was unanimously approved at Downtown Flats yesterday, and I appreciate Alex mentioning how the West 3rd and St. Clair location is gonna make a lot more sense once the mural's up, because otherwise it looks like a badge of although I think it's gonna read the best when the cars aren't in the parking lot, but the mural is so large scale that that's gonna make it make a lot more sense. And one thing that was mentioned in Downtown Flats yesterday was that how the badges will be secured is gonna be site specific. So like in front of the Superior location, which is a great site, and it's a much better site than what they originally brought to us, which was down the street by the library. Is that the Superior location, they have those special pavers as a sidewalk, so we had asked if they wanted to check with building owners, so if they do need to bolt it down in that location. They're not in the best of condition right now, but if they need to bolt it on and be able to replace any pavers, they would be able to do so. And another way that Alex or Hannah presented yesterday had mentioned they would either be bolted down or they could add up to about, I think you said 1,100 to 1,200 pounds of ballast in the bottom portion.
Yeah.
So it would be one of those two methods to help secure it, so it's not a safety issue or anything like that. I think the locations are great. I think it's exciting. I love that it's interactive, and I'd be excited to see where else they can go in the city. But I'm definitely supportive. Good project, and I want to commend Destination Cleveland, because right now they're doing more public art than anybody in the city, and they're being very thoughtful about how they're doing it, especially with the next project that he's going to talk about. So.
Thank you.
I have a question, Chair, the applicant. Why is it a leasing structure? Is that from Lamont Studios push? Okay.
Yeah, and so these are built out of, the badge itself is aluminum. I think we're still talking about what exactly the base is, and that has to do with whether we're ballasting or not. But they're not designed to last forever. They're not as robust, say, as the script signs. And so as we talk through the budget for them, the materials, what they'd be built out of, we came to that 3-year term at their suggestion, similar to the harmonies that I showed you. They've built these pieces over time. There's 8 or 10 different ones. And when I ask, how long does it last? They're like, they get climbed on, they get abused. They last about 3 years. So great, let's have a 3-year contract.
Thank you.
Certainly.
Motion?
Madam Chair, I move to approve item number 005 as presented.
Second. We have a motion and a second. This was for conceptual approval. Do we need to see this again, or can it go to staff?
I think it could go to staff.
Yeah, would you add that?
Yeah, I'll amend that the badge sculpture presentation can be worked out with staff.
Any changes to the bases, things like that?
Yeah,
Okay.
basically, even though you're asking for conceptual approval.
So this is, yeah.
We don't need to, and I don't know why it's conceptual approval, but regardless, what we're giving you is final approval.
Thank you.
But the director has authority to sign off after you kind of come to all the details.
Understood. Do that.
So, do you second that?
I do.
Okay, so Michael, we're giving final approval, but can come back to staff with details.
That might have been a staff error. Yeah, we should have.
There are lots of errors today. Can we call the roll?
Anthony,
Yes.
Luther,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes.
Knight,
Yes.
We don't no longer have, he's up. Yeah. Okay, all right, motion carries. Last one you have is Northwest 2024-002. This is a mural across the city seeking final approval. This is on 4162 Pearl Road. And this is seeking final approval.
Yes.
So, go ahead.
So this is the 4th in our series of murals across the city works that we've presented to you. The location, prominent intersection here in the Old Brooklyn neighborhood, just north of Pearl and Broadview. The building is the blue one that you see. So adjacent property is the parking lot to the Family Dollar. You'll see heading north across the Big Creek Valley, headed towards the zoo there. Looking at the building and the adjoining post office, and then again north on Pearl. More context, looking south on Pearl and southeast on Broadview. So this intersection there right in the Brighton neighborhood. The wall we're looking at in particular is 42 feet wide. It's 12 feet tall at the rear and goes downhill just a little bit toward about a 14-foot height at the sidewalk line. It is currently this bright blue color. It's the home of Ira Jamaican Restaurant. And we thought it was just a great surface because it's already painted. It's in a prominent location. And as you can see, there's even a little bit of a landscape bed there where someone could stand out of traffic and take a photo in the parking lot. So material wise, this is the same as the rest of the project. These are direct application of paint. As needed, the walls will be buffed and primed. I don't think we'll have to do that in this location. Blue is pretty fresh, and I'll show you how we're going to use it in just a moment. After the artist comes through, we'll apply anti-graffiti coating. It says up to 12 feet, but given that this one's only 14 feet tall, I'm sure we'll just do it all. So this is the design rendering. This is from local artist Bob Peck. He submitted this design to us in our call for artists last year. It was a mirrored version of this, and it had the same light blue background. And so when we met with the building owner and showed him the remaining designs, we sort of said, we don't have to prime anything if, if you use this one, do you like it? And so we reversed it to bring that word mark up to the street line, and reset the background color to be what was very close to it already, the color of the building. And I think it's a great fit, with the branding that iRay's already got going on. The notoriety of that is sort of that bright blue building on a more traditional, materials corner. I think it'll be a really cool fit.
Thank you, Tara. Anything else? Or clearly you love this one.
Yeah, by Narrowest Design Review on Wednesday, and we did receive a note from Councilman Harsh, who's worked this, and I'm gonna read this verbatim because I thought it was funny. He said, as my younger friends would say, that's super dope. He said the design is lovely and the wall spotted Irie Jamaican is a perfect location. And I want to just also add that I love vibrancy of the color, considering that it's on the facade of a Jamaican restaurant, and Caribbean culture is very vibrant with their colors. And so I think all of that lines up. And again, I just want to commend Destination Cleveland for their thoughtfulness with this particular program in providing equity and getting 3 murals on the east side, 3 murals on the west side, and really looking beyond the usual neighborhoods. So
thank you.
Still looking for one site, but we're trying for that balance. That's right.
Once it's done, I'll take a selfie when I go pick up my dinner, so.
Yeah.
That's where I live.
Well, I was gonna say, that's your neck of
It's
the
like right
woods.
up the street.
You want to make a motion?
Sure. I actually, I just want to check on the agenda. It does say, Councilwoman Mauer. I thought this was part of this board, so I just want to make sure that that's.
Here, Councilman?
He is my councilman.
Okay.
Sorry about that. No problem. Only because I live in the neighborhood, so why that stood out to me. I move to approve the Destination Cleveland mural across the city, located at 4162 Pearl Road as presented.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Luther,
Yes.
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 Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks for your time this
Maybe
morning.
you can do this, consolidate all to one agenda and you only have to come once. There you go.
I'll be back in a couple
All
weeks.
right, we have 2 mandatory referrals and administrative, and we are done. So first ordinance is 108-2. We're back onto page 10, 108-2024. What?
We're gonna note for the record that Isabella's recused.
Oh, yes. Well, that's a problem.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. So.
Is it just for this case? Should we do it?
Yeah. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to hear this next week. So we need to
I'm here for the other.
postpone, correct?
Post.
And you can just abstain from the postponement, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you?
Madam Chair, I move to postpone ordinance number 10824.
Second.
Motion and a second. Call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Luther,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes.
McKnight.
Abstain.
All right, we'll hear that next in 2 weeks, hopefully. The last one is ordinance 111-2024. This is authorizing the mayor and commissioner of purchases and supplies to sell certain city-owned property no longer needed for public use located at West 130th Street to 3945 West 130th Street. Okay, Cassie,
Yes.
welcome.
Good
Sorry you
morning.
had to wait so long.
It's okay. So Cassie Slansky with the Division of Real Estate. This property is owned by the city. It's located on the east side of West 130th, right between Interstate 71 and Brookline Avenue. The property was purchased years ago by the city for right-of-way purposes, and it has since sat vacant. The property is pretty small. It's over a little over 4,200 square feet. It sits between a gas station and an older tire shop. The councilman is in much support of this. We received a proposal from the property owner to the north, who is the gas station owner, and he has asked to purchase the property. He will clean it up, consolidate it with his existing property to the north, and include 6 EV charging stations.
I'm excited. I want to use it.
Do you want to do this with accommodation or something? Some like, distinction? No, I'm just kidding.
Here's the front view of it. You can see it's right to the left
Exceptional.
of the tire shop. There's some cars sitting on our lot. And then there's another angle of it. The rail there is dividing it from the property owner that's interested in purchasing it.
So it's a true story.
Uh-oh.
I lived down that street, St. John, growing up. And we would cut through that lot to go to the Carl F. Schuler and cross the bridge to go to school. So I know exactly where this is.
Yeah. Well, can there be a historic marker, please?
With,
For Commissioner Member Fluker?
with a Fluker commemorative EV station.
Yes. Actually, it's not a bad idea. Seriously. I'll go at night and place one on there, like, without permission. I will. You think I'm kidding? I'm just kidding. All right.
Madam Chair, I move to approve ordinance number 11124 as presented.
Second.
Motion and second. Call the roll?
Anthony,
Yes.
Fluker,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes.
McKnight.
Yeah.
Motion carries. Lastly, we have 3 administrative approvals. Take a quick look at them and then we'll need a motion. They look pretty straightforward.
I move to approve administrative approvals as presented, ordinance numbers 115, 2024, 116, 2024, and 167, 2024.
Second.
Call the roll?
Anthony,
Yes.
Fluker,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes.
McKnight.
Yeah.
Motion carries. Do we have a director's report?
Yes. So we've been in the news this week because city planning received a grant of $100,000 to do an open streets program at West 29th Street in Ohio City. So that's the view of where it is. It's the firehouse, the transformer station area. We will begin community engagement this spring, design over the summer, and then installation in the fall. So there's both a lot of excitement and of course there are some concerns. I'll be going to the Block Club next Thursday to kind of talk about the project and what we're trying to accomplish. And the mayor is very excited. He is all about open streets programs and is really excited about that. Transportation demand management is a program that you all helped to before. The program elements are now finished and you will be getting this in your inbox for your review starting next week. And we will bring it before you in March in more detail. So we can walk through the program elements and how it's all going to work. And Matt Moss and his team has done a really nice job with the program itself. Budget hearings begin next Tuesday, February 20th. We are up first after the mayor's presentation. We anticipate it'll be a little bit different this year where the chief of finance is actually going to be presenting for all of the departments.
Oh, nice. Really?
And we have done our operational hearings in the fall, as you remember. We've provided them with all the budget updates, and I did include some additional dollars for a citywide master planning effort.
Nice.
So that is going to be presented on Tuesday.
That's called process improvements.
It's here. Yeah, it should be
Less
a week
bureaucracy.
long, is what we're hoping for.
Streamline.
Community meetings, wanted to give you a brief update that Shannon, Adam, and Xavier, there's actually across City Hall, multiple departments went to a form-based code meeting last Wednesday, where there was a lot of discussion around form-based code in Udell, Detroit Shoreway neighborhood. Came away with a lot more understanding and positive comments, so it will be coming back before you in March. Last thing, we're still looking for that senior planner and zoning, so it's up till next Friday. If you know anybody who is great for the position, they would be working along Shannon and Xavier. Strategic zoning and GIS and our databases, so that's it.
Thank you.
Hello, Shannon.
Um,
Oh, can I make one note about townhouse code?
yes,
So the townhouse code notices are out on all the sites, so we have those nice yard signs. Did want to note that, we do believe that townhouses should come forward for conditional use at the point of schematic, because that will have a lot more detail, for the townhouse zoning review, so I just wanted to note that that's the path we're gonna take moving forward. Today, there was a conceptual review, and use-wise, it was fine, but I think moving forward, we just need a lot more detail. In order to really truly review this. Okay. Shannon, did you want to say anything about the job? Something else?
No, other than, if you know any good candidates for a senior planner position with somebody that has some, skills or has some experience, please send them our way, because, they have big shoes to fill.
Well, Shannon, you're the GOAT.
Thanks, August, but I need some help.
all right, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.